Hello everybody, welcome to the Social Economic Networker team. Welcome to the Building Network channel. Hello everyone, my name is Olaf Pfannebecker and we warmly welcome you to the new edition of the channel Building Network. On behalf of the team, we hope that the information given is helping you to construct your network with success. We would be very grateful if you press the like button, the like sign on your channel and send us your comments, your opinions, your ideas or improvements so that we can continue adapting ourselves to make everything effectively. Today we are going to give you some important tips for the business presentation and the follow-up. Tips that have been duplicated worldwide thanks to the practical experience of the social economic networker in the past 2 decades and which are available to us today so that successful and productive consumer organizations can be duplicated. That is why there is a business model. The goal is that people learn the basics and duplicate themselves. This model is not a straitjacket. There are people who sometimes don't use this model properly. They say, no, I don't mention that, and why should I mention this, and so on, since they have not yet understood the purpose of the model. Now, the purpose of the model, which has been developed over the years, is that the new team member can learn the basics of the business because he does not know them yet. This means that the new team member knows what he's talking about when he sits down with someone. He shouldn't start improvising. It's always better to say nothing than improvise. But if we teach those people a realistic model, well, we tell them about this and tell them about that, and at least they get to know some concepts that they will repeat when they do the business presentation, getting better and better doing it. The most important thing about the presentation is that it has to be simple, that you present this model from the heart, apply good energy, be amazed, build up an emotional connection with the people, tell them what you found in this project. The presentation is a story. It's your story. It's not a presentation based on logic in which I have to persuade someone to get into this fabulous business. If you do that from that kind of perspective, it will not work. It won't be effective. When presenting the business to someone, tell them what you are experiencing, what you have discovered and what you have found in this project. Tell them how the project got into your life, how it changed your life, and afterwards talk about the concepts of the actual business model, because this model gives you the necessary basics to guide the person through the process of the home meetings mentioned. So this point is very important. We see that there are people who give a good business presentation, but don't cover the basics that the presentation should contain and what basics should contain a presentation. Well, first of all, your personal story, which is based on how your current state was before the opportunity, how this opportunity came into your life, and how your mindset has changed through the process of entering the system and joining a team. You may not be successful at that moment yet, but you are telling people where you are going to with this business opportunity and transfer the vision of the business. Don't get stuck in your story. It's not about talking about your whole life. We have experienced it sometimes, like for example that there are new team members who talk a little bit more than 40 minutes just to tell their personal story. They tell stories about the family, about the children, about that and about the others, and the candidates are starting wondering, that is fine, but I was told that social economic networkers help people. I would like to find out how I can make money here. I wait and wait and wait, but the information they promised me just doesn't come. That is why it has to be a presentation in which you create a good balance. This can be done very briefly. When I tell people about my personal situation before the business opportunity, I mention, well, I want you to know that I said like you before at a business presentation some years ago, which I heard for the first time. I came to this presentation because I wanted to change something in my life. Why was I looking for change in my life? Well, I noticed that I had much less spare time for myself and for my family. Left home in the morning, returned at night. Well, although I made good money, I had lost my freedom. I often asked myself whether this should go until the rest of my life. I realized that I had to find another option. And in this search, I found another option that we want to share with you today. Okay, so we project the candidate as our situation was before the opportunity. For example, what was our current state before we entered the project. Then we will introduce the candidate, how our life has changed thanks to the project, the team, and in which direction we are going with this project. Why do we mention all this? So that when you tell the candidate, he lowers his emotional barriers. Because most of the candidates who come to a business presentation may think, well, they want to convince me and get me in and I don't want to go in, or something like, they want to convince me that I should go into this so they can make money from me, or like this. He wants to convince me because he wants to sell me something. I don't want to buy anything. These are just some of the famous barriers. When presenting the business opportunity, do not try to convince someone. Tell them what happened to you and they will start listening to you. A connection is created. This is why your story is so important in the beginning before going into the logic part or any other details. Because if you speak directly about the logical part of the business opportunity, the mental block will be even greater. It will be a lot more difficult to make the important information understandable for the candidate. So take 3 to 4 minutes to tell them a little bit about you, about yourself, about your life before the project, how you felt, how the opportunity came into your life, and how your view of life has changed completely. Then tell the candidate what you found thanks to this opportunity. It is an important point to mention. What have you discovered with this business opportunity? So in January, tell your story. The candidates who have arrived and are listening to your presentation want to know what is this all about. Therefore, your presentation should of course include all the points, what is this all about. This is why some parts of the business presentation mention a little bit about the current concept in which we are financially. How the world and its economy have been changed over the years and that there are other options that will present to you today. How can this benefit the candidate? You mention to him the advantages of the industry, that he can develop a second source of income in his free time without leaving what he is doing. That is a big advantage. Why do we suggest that these points in the beginning? Because many candidates have the mentality that they have to quit their job to realize this business opportunity. These potential doubts must be removed from the mind of the candidates from the start, because There are many candidates who won't do the business if you don't tell them, because they think they have to quit their job to start this business. Candidates won't mention it, but since you didn't explain it in the business presentation, they just don't enroll themselves. They think there will be no way that I'm going to do that. I can't quit my job. Or I don't have time to do that. One of the great advantages of the industry that you are addressing is that you can build up a second source of income in your free time without leaving what you're doing. Experts say people who know how to diversify their income have financial security for themselves and their families. Because if one day your income is missing from what you're currently doing, it would cause an emotional crisis in your family, doesn't it? That is why most of them react and answer, "Oh sure, you are absolutely right. When I get fired from work, I stand there with my bare hands." So what do you convey to the candidate? That they should look out for an alternative, a plan B, because with the project we are presenting, a plan B which is successful. And this is why this possible doubt of the candidates is removed. Another advantage of the network: there are no local or country borders. Why do we mention this? Because when we mention that, we get the candidates to think of people. We also mention to that candidate present there, you start this project right here where you are now. Imagine you present the project to a good friend of yours here in the city, and your friend presents it to a cousin in Belgium. The candidate sitting there may have a cousin in Belgium, or maybe in Holland, or in France, in Switzerland. He may say, "Wow, my cousin has a friend in Switzerland." So the candidate is already thinking of people in Switzerland. And if my cousin participates, we indirectly make him think of people by saying that there are no limits, and not only for him, but also for all the people which have the same right. All around the world, all the people can do that. Another advantage is that the investment is minimal. Practically, there is no investment to get into this business. This removes another doubt from the candidates that it won't cost much. The other advantage is the passive income. So let's look first your story. What is this all about? Your advantages, what you have, and what company it is. And then it starts. That is why there is a graphic of the company that supports us. We are supported by this company called 4Life Research with all their references. Another question that the candidate asks is how the money is made. Therefore, the other slide of the company 4Life and the products follows the slide how to make money. While projecting this, the person who is presenting the business opportunity asks the candidate, who wants to make some money immediately? Because there are many people who want to make some money quickly. Almost all candidates raise their hands. Almost all. Because this company offers a system with a quick bonus payout plan for those who need immediate income. Those who are interested in an immediate income answer quickly, myself. So we meet one of their needs. Now this company also has a number of other performance bonuses. And we continue with the business presentation. And finally, there is another doubt from our candidates that makes it impossible to enter the business if you do not remove this doubt beforehand. The candidate wonders, well, but I'm a cook. I'm a carpenter, I'm an engineer, I'm a doctor, I'm a housewife. I don't know how to do that. That is not for me. Do you understand what we want to say with that? Therefore, we answer in advance to this possible doubt. Do not worry, we are part of a global team that has developed an excellent system over the years, a teaching method that we can offer you on requests so that you learn how to do this correctly. We help you and we support you. There is a team, there's a system that supports you, that teaches you. Now the candidate feels confident. Oh, that's great. Also, they support me, they teach me. There is nothing to lose here. And finally, we come to the conclusion of the business presentation. Here you have to complete the presentation with the possibilities of this project, with the dreams and what awaits us in the future. Can you imagine making a decision today to secure your future forever? Imagine that time and money are no longer limit for you. Imagine working less hours but earning more money. Imagine what you and your family could achieve in the next 5 years. The candidate who is sitting there and listening will say himself, I will never achieve that kind of income with my job. And that is why at the end of our business presentation, we ask questions of awareness. Can you imagine making a decision that will change your current situation forever? A decision that will allow you to earn an income in the next 3 to 5 years that will allow you to live a lifestyle with freedom. So you ask questions that open up different possibilities for the candidate. And here we have a very, very important point that a lot of people ignore. They do not make a conclusion, an effective closing, so that the candidates can make a decision. You take care of everything, but you don't conclude. The conclusion can be very easy. It is as simple as, like, for example, ask the candidate if he is interested in earning an immediate income. Therefore, we mention, among other things, we are ready to help and support you in the creating a work schedule with you today, tonight, so you can start earning money in the coming month. Let us know so we can create an effective planning to work with you. What do those candidates think who want to earn an immediate income? That they can achieve it. That is how we help them to make a good decision. Those who are really interested will respond and will come to you. And here it is very important to make a positive and, let's say, result-orientated conclusion. If we do it right, we will be very effective. And many candidates will agree and stand up because the combination of all the given elements are properly connected. What elements are we talking about? Let's say our 5 direct team members learned how to prospect correctly. They learned how to create a candidate list. They have also learned to invite candidates with an effective invitation. They learned how to properly build up team members, products, the company, the learning system, to inspire candidates' interest in listening to the business presentation. They have learned to present a good business presentation and to conclude it effectively. They have learned to sit together after the business presentation in order to realize the conclusion with the candidate, fill out the form, and if this was not possible, give the candidate at least some follow-up material. The post-business meeting is actually about 2 things. We either make a definitive conclusion or we offer further follow-up treatments. There are people who hold these post-meetings, and when you listen to them, it seems more about a course for personal growth than about having an effective meeting for conclusion. This meeting essentially consists of maximum 7 to 10 people to keep it manageable. Since it would be very difficult and would also take too much to manage more people at the same time, it is therefore very important that the team members or the team member responsible for the meeting has been trained beforehand. Therefore, you choose the best team member in this group before you start. Of course, you have to be the person so that you can manage your group that is part of your downline. There are candidates, and the candidates who have invited their business partners. They are present there. So you introduce yourself. For example, my name is Olaf Pfannebecker. I was a head chef and further on working in an international hotel chain. And then later on I went to retail as a sales manager. I joined this project because I was looking for a better lifestyle. I would be very nice if each of you introduced yourself briefly. Please explain your name and what you are currently doing professionally. Anyone who is already in business says, of course, I'm a network entrepreneur. Those who do still other jobs mention, well, look, I'm a secretary, or I'm a police officer, or I'm a doctor, or I'm an engineer. And I choose this project because this business opportunity means I can build a better and safer future for my family. Now, the team member responsible for this meeting takes control of the meeting and addresses the invited guest directly, because the main goal of this meeting is the new candidates. Welcome. We have 3 guests here tonight. Your name is? Mr. Johnson, Peter Johnson. Hello, Mr. Johnson. What did you like most about the business presentation you saw tonight? So we ask these questions because we want references. What and how the candidates think. Based on these references, we can provoke a decision. That is why it is so important that the team leader is trained to block possible objections. All of this is very well explained in our guide to success. How to handle general objections. Now, there are candidates who tell you, I just don't know how to sell the products. Because they understood that this must be a sales business. Another one maybe says, I just don't have time. Or I don't know, this kind of businesses, multi-level stories and so on. I think it's too late. There are too many people involved already. Or this is a pyramid scheme, isn't it? Do you understand what we want to say with that? It is therefore very important that the team member who leads the meeting is trained in how to deal with this kind of objections, because, for example, Mr. Johnson can also say something like, look, and matter of fact, this is one of the most common answers we hear anyway, what I'm interested in is the financial part. So how do you make money with this? Mr. Johnson, do you want to earn an immediate income? Why will Mr. Johnson answer, or what will he answer? Of course, because he is interested in making money. He would like to know how to make the money. This is why he replies, of course I'm interested. Look, Mark, Monica, Sheila and myself, we are all ready to help you right away by creating a work schedule so that you can start making money from this business next month. Do you like that? What will Mr. Johnson answer? Well, fabulous. Now we can sit down with Mr. Johnson to fill out a form and explain what step we will take together. On the other hand, we can continue with the meeting. Okay, what's your name? Mrs. Doris Baker. Mrs. Baker, what did you like the most this evening? Well, I'm more interested in the transfer factor because there's a bit of a lack of my own health. I would like to learn more about the transfer factor. Oh, perfect. Mrs. Baker, we want you to know that this company has the best biotechnology In the end, we will give you some more information about us and our products so that you have enough information to look at for you and also for your family. We give the candidate what he's asking for. The trained team leader knows how to deal with it, because there are people who, like for example, tell the candidate, no, you did not understand nothing, this is not the way it is, it's not a sales business. And just with this single statement, all the work well done was buried. We would also like to explain this other point. We said we were prospecting to invite potential candidates to the business presentation. However, there are exceptional cases. It is a matter of using common sense. When I speak to my friend George and he tells me that he has a severe rheumatism and can hardly move, and on top of it I tell him, listen George, I meet a team of fantastic business people. That doesn't make sense. Use common sense. George said that he has severe rheumatism. He didn't say that he was looking out for a business opportunity. So we would not be consistent. So we say, George, I want you to know that I've got to know a company that has fabulous products that also agree with your health. And in this particular case, George will open the door for me. It's about common sense. Do you understand what we want to say with that? This point is crucial, is important. What we want to say is, who does mention the money? What does this person is looking for? Money. Who mentions something about the products? What would he like to look at or to have? Products. It is therefore very important that the team members who leads the meeting knows how to meet the demands and the needs of the candidates. What do we do at the end of this meeting? Well, we build up the weekly central meeting. One of the important goals of the weekly central meeting is to meet again with our upline, because over time you will have many people in your organization you will not be able to meet personally throughout the week. It is impossible if you have 40, 50, 60 people in your organization to meet them personally throughout the week. So we will meet all on Saturday at the central meeting, where we all get together. Therefore, while we finish our meeting after the business presentation and all candidates have left, we take our agenda where we write down the appointments and organize the following 7 days with the different team members. I say that on Wednesday, for example, I still have space for Margaret in my diary and ask her, for example, Margaret, how can I help you on Wednesday? So I can fill out my appointment agenda with different actions of the following days. Do not leave any free space in your diary. We use the rest of the time at the end of the meeting to set up a schedule to work with the group. That means to organize an action plan that we will take into action during the week. Because if you don't organize yourself, your team members, your downline and your upline who are also present in the central meeting, you will not see them asking for help. Many may duplicate this, and it is the organization that gets stuck in the same place for years and years and do not grow. The central meeting is a point where we meet weekly to plan the week. It starts on Sunday, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday and Friday, because on Saturday we return to the central meeting. All of these points are very important when we hold a meeting after the business presentation. Now, the fourth step of the cycle of momentum is the so-called follow-up. It is a crucial point as there are candidates who are not making a decision at the moment, but decide later. There are people who want to see more details, who want to find out more, who need more time to decide. And that is fine. Not all candidates decide spontaneously. And this is where the effective follow-up actions come into play. What are effective follow-up actions? The follow-up begins at the end of the business presentation. For those candidates who have not yet decided, we have to provoke follow-up actions. And how do you do that? We tell them that we have information packages on hand to provide the candidate with additional information so that this person can read the information at home with a certain ease. Don't give away these additional information packages. They are packages to offer effective follow-up treatments that have a professional background. Therefore, use this valuable material as professionally as possible. It's not about if you have, let's say, 3 candidates in the business presentation and in the end no one decides for the business, to give them all the follow-up material. Here, one for you and another for you. You want also another one for you too? This is not all about that. This is nonsense. We say, for example, Mr. Erminio and myself have prepared this material with information for you. Everything is detailed in this material. If you are interested, you can take this information home with you and evaluate it calmly. There's always someone who is interested saying, yes, I would like to have one. Could I take one with me? Answering, perfect. We hand over the material, we take our agenda because we have to formalize the follow-up. When we can see tomorrow or the day after tomorrow so that I can pick up the material. How are you doing tomorrow? And he answers, yes, that's all right. Where do you prefer us to meet? At Mark's and Sheila's place, at your place, or do we meet in a quiet place? We give several options by asking questions so that the candidate feels comfortable. Maybe he doesn't like us coming to his home, but since we were with Mark and Sheila and they are also my friends, we can also offer the opportunity to meet at their place. And if he tells us we will see each other in the coffee shop, let's say around the corner, well, perfect, then we will meet there. We present these 2 options. Then we hand over the material. The candidate goes home with a very valuable material and we go home with a very valuable appointment. These are effective follow-up actions. At least we have provoked follow-up treatment. Now then, during the follow-up itself, what are the steps to follow? First, we strengthen the relationship. Why should we do that? Why should we strengthen the relationship? Because the candidate doesn't know me. He knows Mark and Sheila, so I will borrow a so-called building up thanks to the friendship that Mr. Johnson has with her friend Mark. She gains trust and slowly gets to know me. I want to keep the trust with the candidate because maybe Mark and Sheila can leave the business. It happens, or they run out of battery. But since I'm building a relationship with the candidate, I already have a friendship and we continue to expand our organizations together. We have already made a friendship. In business life, it happens that your upline will stop for different reasons or stagnates due to a personal situation and the downline continues to grow. We focus on the team member that grows to multiply the business. So this point is also very important to have a look at. Then we return to the topic. What does it mean to return to the topic? I go back and tell a little bit about my story. For example, Mrs. Baker, I want you to know that I started this fantastic project some years ago because I was looking for an improvement in my life. I tell my story and briefly mention my current situation at that time. The current situation connects us because people around the world also have their current situations. But the one I'm telling right now identifies and connects us. So, also I didn't understand much in the in this first business presentation because I worked as a head chef and later as a sales manager in retail. I could see that it was a real option that I also could achieve, and I want you to know, if you choose this project, that Mark, Sheila, my wife Flor and myself will help you. We will support you so that you can achieve your goal. What are we doing here? We give Mrs. Baker the confidence and certainty that she is not alone, that we help her and that she is supported. I'm head of Mrs. Baker's decision. I'm on the way to provoke a decision. Many people do not make a decision because they feel insecure, because they are suspicious of something, they have no relationship with us. But since they trust Mark and Sheila, I take this trust, and Mrs. Baker gets the feeling that we are helping her and that we will support her. After what you saw, is there any question you want to clarify, Mrs. Baker? She now mentions her objections and doubts. We clarify her doubts. That is very important. The doubts she has, nothing more. There are people who clarify the doubt by explaining the whole guide of success and then the whole business, and therefore bury the candidate. Please only clarify what the candidate needs and nothing else. After that, we have enough time to get into other details. This is for lifetime. We have to understand that we cannot give a steak Wellington to a newborn child. That wouldn't work. We cannot submit all of the information. Give your candidates what information they need at the moment, but not more. They tell you, well, I have never liked selling. We understand that, Mrs. Baker. When Mr. Nevares and myself saw this business for the first time, we thought it was a sales business, but I want you to know that we are building a business concept similar to a franchise system. You certainly heard about from franchises like McDonald's or Burger King. These companies are very successful because they have a method that teaches success. Now we are also part of a global team that has developed a method which teaches success, and we teach this method. We don't have to sell products, but we will network. I know you don't know how to do that, but don't you worry. We will help you with that. Clarify any existing doubts and complete the deal. How can a successful conclusion be caused? Ask questions. Mrs. Baker, I want you to know, if you decide today that Mr. Nevares, myself, can sit down with you to create an action plan so that you can earn an immediate income, is this okay with you? And she may say yes. If she's not ready yet and says, I don't understand all of it, then we answer, I understand you very well. Because when I saw this for the first time, I couldn't understand it either. But I want that you know that we all meet in a hotel on Saturday. And now we are start to build up the central meeting. Because now our goal is to get Mrs. Baker, who saw the business presentation one-to-one, or who was present at the home meeting, to invite her to the central meeting. Okay, so Mrs. Baker, you will see the business presentation a second time. We know it is very important decision for your life, but give yourself the opportunity to be with us again, to meet other successful entrepreneurs, people like you who started just like you. Today, thanks to this project, they have built an excellent income for themselves and their families. I would like to introduce them to you. How about we meet on Saturday so you can get to know the other team members? Will that be okay with you? So we connect her with the central meeting. It's a system that gets people moving and in this case guides Mrs. Baker through the process. It makes her click and suddenly she says, wow, I think that's for me. I think I can do it too. Thanks to the stories and experience of other successful team members which I just saw, with whom I identify myself, I will also do this business. Well, I'm a housewife too, like Rafaela, and if she can do that, I can do it too. It's a process of giving information and moving people. These are the famous follow-up actions. In the end, you decide to do the business. So what's the next step? Well, I take my agenda. When can we sit down, Mrs. Baker, to create the action plan for starting your business and going through the managerial planning? The system is knowledge. Recordings, videos on YouTube, websites, conferences, online conferences, the guide to success, why for life, the entrepreneurs of the 21st century. The information is available to everyone around the world. What we just talked about is the important part of the cycle of momentum. It is the individual work that we and you do with people outside and that you model. You devote 80% of your time to those team members. In other words, if we, I mean my wife and myself, have 5 direct team members that we will be working with all the time because they are the most committed, then we will take 80% of our time dedicating to them. We devote 20% of our time to the rest of the organizations. That means moving them to the different key activities and meetings to help them grow with the collective activities. On behalf of our team, we wish you all the best of success. Please do not forget to press a like. In the next issue, we will talk about the point that is fundamental to the core growth of an organization, which is consult with your upline, stay in touch with your sponsor, seek constant advice from your sponsor, check with your sponsor. So we will get in some very important details next week. Hope to see you around. We thank all of you for your attention and we're gonna see you next week.